hello everybody. My name is Gabriele Scivoletto, and I'm here for presenting my work that is called CAPIF-enabled network exposure framework with CAMARA APIs and dynamic transformation functions integration. Let's have a look on the agenda. First of all, we had a couple of sentences about the projects that is somehow funding this work. That is envelope. Then I will be presenting at high level the use case that is actually involved, one of the use cases that is actually involved in this work. Here we are presenting an exposure framework, so then I will go through the details on the architecture and how this exposure framework is implemented. Then we will see this exposure framework in action, so within the use case, and finally, from the developer perspectives, how we can somehow develop on top of this framework. Envelope project overview. The project that is funding this project is Envelope. That is a StreamD project within the SNSJU framework. StreamD are somehow targeting verticals, and the target verticals of this work is the automotive, so the CAM vertical. We have 3 living labs in Italy, in Greece, and in the Netherlands, where we are experimenting our stuff. We are testing and developing our technologies. The aim of Envelope is somehow to simplify the interaction between the CAM application and the network. So by developing APIs, simplified APIs, and these enable some technologies like cross-border and cross-domain operations, multi-connectivities, dynamic slicing to ensure quality of service and quality of the experience. And to have a look on the architecture, so we have a lot of technical enablers like TSSS multi-connectivities, predictive quality of service, zero-touch service management, and technologies for MAC handover and MAC federations, and Envelope. At the end, the objective is to develop simplified APIs, so Envelope APIs to simplify the access to these technologies from the applications. But what's the role of OpenCAPIF in Envelope? Because this presentation is more focused on OpenCAPIF within the ETSI tools. The role of OpenCAPIF in Envelope is twofold. First of all, starting from the low-level APIs like 5G core management and orchestration and MAC APIs, as you can see left. We are publishing these low-level APIs on CAPIF, and we are developing transformation functions towards the Envelope APIs like the CAMARA APIs. So, and let me say that this is somehow the standard architecture. So publishing low-level APIs like the network APIs on CAPIF. But here we are presenting another, framework, another architecture where CAPIF is involved. Again, we have low-level APIs like network, 5G core network APIs and management and orchestrations. And here the idea is to develop, to implement several implementations of the CAMARA APIs. And then we are publishing these APIs on CAPIF. And the idea is to let an API gateway to select the most appropriate transformation functions based on the API invoker, based on the network conditions, and several other logic that we can have here. So not only publishing low-level APIs on CAPIF, but also publishing, service APIs and several implementation of the same service API on CAPIF to be selected by a sort of API gateway. So now an high-level view on a use case that is somehow making use of this framework. The use case is accident detection in a connected automotive environment. The scenario: a 5G connected vehicles somehow, as soon as an accident is detected, triggers a set of actions towards an exposure framework. Okay, the objective is to demonstrate how the 5G connected vehicles are able somehow to trigger actions to consume low-level APIs and to make use of these APIs. The scenario. Okay, we have 5G connected vehicles that as soon as is detecting an accident, it sends a message to a cloud service, and this cloud service somehow through the exposure framework is somehow invokes some management and orchestration APIs through CAMARA to instantiate a service in an edge server and this service somehow is in charge of reconstructing the 3D scene of the accident. Okay, and we are using this exposure framework that I was presenting before. How this framework works. The objective is to expose these low-level APIs using some simplified APIs like CAMARA and ad hoc transformation functions. Which low-level APIs are involved here? Management and orchestration APIs to allow CAM application to deploy the services, and ETSIMAC 13 APIs to somehow expose the location of the vehicles. Okay. So here we have these low-level APIs that we would like to simplify. So the management and orchestration and the ETSIMAC 13 APIs. Then on top of this, we have this exposure layer where the transformation functions are somehow deployed, and the transformation functions simplifies the low-level APIs into the service APIs. Okay, and here, for example, we have the CAMARA Edge Application Management APIs that are simplifying the low-level management and orchestration APIs, and the CAMARA Device Location APIs that are simplifying the ETSIMAC 13 APIs. Okay, but okay, here we have CAPIF, as I was saying at the very beginning of the presentation. So we are publishing the service APIs on CAPIF dynamically, so that we let a sort of API gateway, okay, to discover the APIs and to select the most appropriate transformation functions based on who is invoking the APIs. Okay, and here at the level of the API gateway, we have, of course, the simplified APIs to be consumed by the applications. Okay, again, the use case that are somehow using this framework, we have this cloud application that is consuming the CAMARA device location APIs plus the transformation function that are transforming in the APIs in the ETSIMAC 13, and the same cloud application that through the CAMARA Edge Cloud APIs and the management and orchestration layer are able to instantiate the service in the Mac. And here we can see in action that the service is instantiated in the Edge server. Okay, but from a developer perspective, how to develop transformation functions and how to somehow develop logic in the API gateway. From the transformation function perspective, we are proposing an SDK to allow the developers to write the logic of the transformation functions to simplify the low-level APIs into the CAMARA APIs. But here we are somehow using the OpenCAPIF SDK provided connector from the transformation function layer to onboard, the provider, because in this step here we are publisher of APIs, so we are using the SDK to onboard the provider and to publish the API to the CAPIF. And the developer is only supposed to implement the logic of the transformation function. So is not supposed to interact with CAPIF, but only to develop the logic of the transformation function. Okay, here you can somehow containerize the application, and as soon as for example, the Helm chart, if we are in Kubernetes, is deployed, the transformation function is dynamically published on CAPIF and is available on CAPIF to be somehow selected and invoked. By who? By the API gateway, as I was saying before. The API gateway, in this case, is an invoker. So we are somehow we are using the OpenCAPIF SDK invoker connector for onboarding the invoker on CAPIF and to discover the available transformation functions that are published on CAPIF. And here the developer is only supposed to develop the logic to select the most appropriate transformation function based on who is invoking the CAMARA APIs, the simplified APIs. Okay, conclusions. We have somehow showcased the dynamic publication of CAMARA API on CAPIF, ensuring real-time adaptation to the network and edge exposure capabilities. We are proposing an SDK, developer-friendly, to somehow develop these transformation functions and develop the logic to select transformation functions at the level of the API gateway. And again, the dynamic selection of the most appropriate CAMARA transformation functions based on the network condition, API invoker, and so on. Okay, thank you. I'm here to answer your question, if so.
Walter Stein. Just a question on the high-level exposure, and thank you for an excellent presentation. On the high-level exposure, is CAPIF also used for that as well? Yeah, I think one of the earlier slides.
Yeah,
so you had CAPIF over. Yeah.
Let me go to the very first, architecture. Okay, here again in Envelope, our idea is to use the CAPIF both at low level, so to publish network APIs, as many other projects are doing, basically. So from the left side here, but okay, we are using also at the top level, okay, to publish the simplified API, the CAMARA APIs, to have a sort of registry of the available CAMARA APIs and their transformation function, because as you know, CAMARA can be somehow translated in several low-level APIs. We can have several implementation based on based on the use case, based on the context, based on the vertical, and CAMARA can be translated in several ways, right? So here on the right side of this slide, we are presenting how we are somehow publishing the different available transformation function of the same CAMARA APIs.
And so with the developer who's leveraging the CAMARA APIs, like from the northbound, like at the top of the figure, would they also be using CAPIF for discovery, or is CAPIF more for the internals?
Of course, you can get rid of the API gateway. We are somehow proposing an API gateway to to leveraging to not make the application to be somehow obliged to onboard itself on CAPIF to implement all the mechanisms to interact with CAPIF. So you can just invoke the CAMARA APIs, and then the API gateway is somehow in charge of interacting with CAPIF. But of course, you can get rid of the API gateway, and you can just publish your transformation function on CAPIF and then interact with CAPIF, of course.
I see. Now that clears it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Many thanks.